The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people. Is that true? Don't want to say we're the good guys. We enforce the law, we keep these animals from killing each other. Doesn't always work. That would be his reply, I guess. I know what it's like, but I have secret plans to turn the RCM into a Masovian revolutionary unit. I do? You can't enforce a law if people don't respect your position to enforce it. And that is the majority of the case here. We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans le Monde.
Man, that sense of identity is not his own.
Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
You never signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument.
Yeah.
Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
That is kind of honourable.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class.
So you're a communist soldier from the communist army.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
What does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Ah.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
You know, I don't have any problems with the aims of this man. As far as, you know, what he aligns with for the future of humanity. I do have a problem with the fact that he's still stuck in a very old mode of thinking about it, though. And I think that's where the majority of this kind of political discourse falls on its face. People's ideas don't evolve with the times and the needs that need to be accommodated by them. So they just stick with rigid terms. Group identity. According to its historical context, rather than what it means now. And this is why it's so offensive to call somebody, you know, anti-capitalist or a socialist or whatever. The majority of the people who take offence to that, or are offended by it, I mean the ideas, are the ones who don't necessarily keep themselves up to date and get the more recent revision of what that term actually means. And I think he's an example of this. Because so long as you're constantly aiming for a set of values or ideas that are 40 or 50 years out of date, completely invalid in today's world, you're never going to be able to make any kind of difference, regardless of how much you, or how much will you put into your efforts to do so. This is a lesson I don't think this man met. Shame.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
It's funny. If I were to say this in real life, that I'm not really into politics, people would laugh at me. But I'm not really. Not in, like, to typical political discourse. Mainly because I don't actually believe in the process enough to have it affect anything outside of business, economic, so-called growth, and the you know, the sort of preservation of the way things are now, because there are far too many interests who benefit. Sorry, far too many powerful interests that benefit from it as it is now, and to actually make the right decisions to transform essentially how we see ourselves, how we treat each other, and how we live as human beings, the power would go away. And that is the only thing. That is the only thing stopping any kind of positive change from actually happening, because policy and law are bought by those same individuals who are scared, and it is outright fear that they experience when they consider a change in the world would mean that they would have to change as well, and they wouldn't have the status, they wouldn't have the influence, the power, the control, you know, name whichever word you like, as they do now. And that terrifies them, because they have no idea who they are outside of that, because what they are, what they represent, isn't real. So they and their values and their aims and goals are not real. They mean nothing. They're completely arbitrary. They're aiming for the wrong things, because as soon as that disappears, they have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Very little in the way of sense of self. Having to reorient themselves to a new set of motivational values, they wouldn't know where to start. But I really wouldn't put myself in any of these two camps here. I'm not really into politics myself.
You're inert lumpen with a gun.
Thank you. It's not a completely accurate statement that I'm not into politics, but that's the only option I got.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology.
He turns to the old man.
We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That's insane. Is it though? I'm gonna be honest with you here. There have been times in my life when I've thought about doing exactly this. Not killing anyone, obviously, but just like, you know, getting away from everything. Too many times, sadly. Hope, right? I dare say there was some hope driving his motivations to stay hidden. That's steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Okay.
Her who?
If he says who I think he's going to say.
Girl child. Revolution.
Girl, child, revolution. That's not what I thought he was going to say.
Always.
Unless it's the same thing, but just under a different name. Nothing in history is guaranteed, but revolution is still a possibility.
No. The
Cynical.
material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed.
Shame.
It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
Very bleak. I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
Both.
There is no after the war.
Huh.
Class war is never over.
Very, very apt.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
But what?
this is what you live for. This is the shit.
God. Okay.
The great serotonin jackpot.
No drugs, man.
The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those.
Okay.
No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first.
Okay.
Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Okay, let me just get a drink of my water here. So you're saying you kill people after active fighting stop? Did you use the gun to shoot and kill a colonel, a security contractor colonel? I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two? We'll start with this one. So you're saying you kill people after the active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
He keeps shaking his head erratically, suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Krenel? No. I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
Oh.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Wait, so which one do I say?
Nothing comes to you.
God damn it!
Silence. His black eyes look at you, and in them a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
What?
All is not as it seems.
Okay.
Detective.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Krenel?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
A corpse in ceramic armor hanging in the whirling in rags. Did you shoot him?
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Okay.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
I don't think he'll care.
The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
We've done the ballistics. Wait, hold on. Yeah, what am I forgetting?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yeah.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony.
Interesting. Does that mean he didn't shoot from a distance and he actually came in and shot from the roof? No. Nah.
And nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinaise have you seen them.
How did he get the seeds there? Maybells. Behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise, only here.
They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinaise is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
A young woman called Classia. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window. Excuse me, behind her window.
Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Almost. But you need one more. Just one. Or maybe two.
We've done ballistics. The shot came from this island. That could be too vague. I'm gonna go with this. I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Nah, we've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
Oh, this guy is quite dark.
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You said fascies. You're admitting you killed him? It's the best uninterrupted line of sight into the window of Martinez. The view was perfect with a pair of binoculars I could have seen in the room. Yeah, you're admitting to killing him?
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
He waves his hand. There's a twitch. Then one more one in his right eye. What? I think that second one wasn't supposed to be there.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Do you think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say any more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. Hey, that rhymes.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
Fuck, this game. Okay, as somebody who's not your typical pro-capitalist person, this game really puts you in a position to actually kind of work out exactly where you sit. Because he was a soldier too. I don't like that, but he was a man. And by what we were told about him, he was a good man. He was a killer. And for some reason, he was under the protection of the law, which I don't agree with. He wasn't a rapist. No. We have no proof of that. And honestly, I think as a soldier himself, he should have a bit more understanding here. So he was a soldier too. He was a man.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner.
Oh, God.
Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement.
What?
Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him?
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Just nod.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives. Okay, let me, I've got 2 points here to use. Keep my composure. Yeah, shivers.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips. I mean, there's nothing else he could have done there, right? He couldn't ask them to stop while he shoots them, you know?
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
Really?
You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
If it's part of the shit you see,
Then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
wow.
You've got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept.
So was shooting someone.
I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
How long have you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Feld building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Feld building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it.
Oh yeah, that was, yeah.
I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
Yeah, she told us that she hid something in the fishing village.
And beautiful.
Nah, that's irrelevant. What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to
Yeah.
Riviere. And from there to Cachet Brut.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast? You looked into it.
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean,
Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of her rifle.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
He shakes his silvery grey head. Well, how did you get close enough to see the bruises, Mr. Dross?
I have my ways.
A cracked smile appears on his dried white lips. What ways? Tell me.
Not in this lifetime, Dwat.
Well. He waves you off with a cough, his thoughts elsewhere.
On her. This one's gone. Make up somehow. Connect something else. Fast. You lost it. You're a bad detective. Lazy and bad.
No, it's cool. I've already got him. I don't need to be perfect.
No, it's not. Fix this now. Move on extra carefully. Be incredibly minute.
You had feelings for that woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly. like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left dried flowers behind her window?
No.
He starts to shake his head again. A sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her the Maybells?
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her. No, wait, hold on. But he has some kind of anger towards her because she comforted a murderer. I don't know which one he tried to do, so I'm just going to say nothing.
Neither does he. He lowers his head, like a sunflower on a withered stalk. In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
He shakes his head and stares at the
You
ashes.
stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf, airport bag in hand, silks flowing in her wake.
The dream.
See you tomorrow, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air, burning.
I'm not like that. I don't think like that.
No one gives a shit what you think. You and your cronies kill 10 working class men a day. I've heard the statistics on Channel 8.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him. It was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. We don't know where she is. He doesn't need to know this.
Good for her. That girl kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, kept staring at the island.
Ha!
At night, crying or smoking on the roof, like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, cold rain falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the grey sky by a web of suspension wiring encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still, she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it, a dark strip of ruins, barely visible, if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Okay.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
Honestly, he's an old man. Where he's going to go away for a while. He'll be dead by the time he can get out, I think. Assuming prison is still a thing. I don't actually know.
Enough Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.